In this video, I will be piloting the Izzet Creativity deck that Reid Duke just used to win the Pro Tour. This is a pioneer strategy based around the card Indomitable Creativity, where if you cast this for X equals 2, you can destroy 2 artifacts and or creatures, oftentimes treasure tokens, and get Worldspine Wurm and Xenagos, God of Revels. The combination of these two cards allows you to double the power of Worldspine Wurm and give it haste so you can hit your opponent for 30 damage. The deck is built around assembling that combo, but has plenty of control elements. It's got lots of early removal like Fiery Impulses and Fire Prophecies. Fire Prophecy particularly useful because if you happen to draw your Xenagos or your Worldspine Wurm, you can use Fiery Prophecy's ability to put it onto the bottom of your library so you can search it up with Indomitable Creativity. Those are the only 2 creatures in your deck, so you're guaranteed to hit them if they're still in your deck when you cast Creativity for 2. You also use Fable of the Mirror Breaker as just a generically good card that also helps you set up your combo, and then you use Big Score to get you those treasure tokens you need. You can also sacrifice the tokens or the creature reflection of Kiki Jiki that is made by the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Secrets of the Key is another way to make tokens that you can sacrifice. Spell Pierce is a little bit of main deck interaction in counterspell form, as well as Make Disappear. You have 4 copies of Impulse as a way to dig for your combo or key like interaction spells, and you also have Dig Through Time as a nice way to use your graveyard as a resource, and Shark Typhoon as another way to make a token. In your sideboard, you have access to a lot of counter magic in the form of Ether Gust, Disdainful Stroke, Negate, Narset's Reversal, and Mystical Dispute. And then you have Rending Volley for specific matchups like Blue-White Spirits or things like that. And then you also have a control sideboard plan where you bring in things like Hullbreaker Horror and more Shark Typhoons if you think your opponent is going to have counter magic. That is the deck tech. I'll be playing it through some games and talking through all of my decisions. So if you want to pilot this deck that just won the Pro Tour, you can learn to do so yourself. I'll see you in the games. Welcome to round number 1. We have won the die roll, so we will elect to go first. We are going to keep, we have this as a land as well. We have, not really the combo, we have this, we have Impulse, Fable the Mirror Breaker. This is an interesting decision on the play. The Shark Typhoon isn't going to be useful for later, until later. Dig Through Time isn't going to be useful until later. We don't really need the creativity. This actually is probably a mulligan just because it's a bit slow. Going turn 2 Impulse and then turn 3 Fable might be good enough. You know what? I'm going to keep this because I'm on the play. If I was on the draw, it would be too slow without any early interaction. Play this as a tap land so that I can play my Impulse on turn 2. I'm going to be affecting the board every turn, and I have a lot of like interactive draws I could have. Looks like I'm against Rakdos, which is a very mid-rangey deck. I'm most worried about hand disruption. Make Disappear is the perfect draw here, because I can hold this up and Impulse up, and then make my decision on what I want to do, based on whether they cast something that I feel like I need to counter. I'm most likely to cast the Impulse, because I want to be able to look at the top 4, find a land, so I can jam this Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And I don't really care about the Harvester, because I can deal with that by blocking with the 2/2 that this makes. So I think I'm going to let that resolve, and then cast my Impulse on their end step. And I see Xenagos, which I definitely don't want. Fiery Impulse, which can take down the Harvester. But here I'm just going to take the Mountain, because that way I can jam the Fable. And I also am happy because I know that I'm not going to be drawing that Xenagos anytime soon. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is just a great draw on turn 3. I already have triple red for this card. And so even if I can just keep these tokens around, the treasures made for the Goblin or things like that, I'll be able to sacrifice this thing and a treasure token potentially. I doubt that I'll be able to do that. I'll have to wait a little bit. Maybe sacrifice the Shark Typhoon token. This is fine. Them using Fatal Push means that they probably aren't going to be able to deploy too scary of a follow-up threat. So here I take my draw step. And now I have the decision. I think I'm going to get rid of Dig Through Time because I'm nowhere near using it. And then I'll probably get rid of a land, because I'm a bit flooded. So I'll get rid of this Shivan Reef, and I'll play this as an island. Yes. Dig Through Time. And I know that I'm not going to be drawing my Xenagos, because on the bottom. Okay, I drew 2 more lands, which isn't ideal. I'm going to play this as Riverglide Pathway, so I have another blue source. And then if they end up tapping out here, I can go for the combo kill immediately. I can Shark Typhoon cycle for X equals 2. I don't think I'm going to go for this block because of this. And then on my turn, I'll have the Fable flipped, and I'll be able to go for the combo. So that means I'm going to wait here. And then hopefully they tap out. Okay, so they're just going to crack a blood token. Thoughtseize. I think I'm supposed to counter this. Because the problem with Thoughtseize is then I have to lose the combo piece. And they get to see my hand. They got rid of a graveyard. That's very interesting. And now they're just frantically digging for another interaction spell for my hand, I assume. I flip my Kiki Jiki thing. Oh, that's actually a really good draw because this can make 2 tokens. And it costs 1 less because of these legendary creatures I have. So I'm going to play this land. And then I'm just going to say go. And I'm going to hope they don't have another hand interaction spell. I don't think I'm going to block a Blood Tithe Harvester here still, though. I don't think they can burn me out really easily. We'll see what they play. They might play something pre-combat. Hopefully they do that. Just going to hope that they don't have another discard spell. Go down to 5. 2 lightning bolts would get me. Shieldred. Perfect. Okay. So that means I can cycle this. Oh, this isn't legendary, right? I actually saw that come up on coverage. I thought it was legendary, but it's not. Okay, and then we just go for the combo. I lose 2 life. And I go 1, and you'll see how the combo works. Okay, I need to tap 3 red mana. Red, red, red. Colorless, colorless. Okay, kill both of those. And then I get my Worldspine Wurm and my Xenagos. I can even make a copy of my Worldspine Wurm with my Kiki Jiki, but we get the win here. So we know we're playing against black-red mid-range. But basically what I was going to do is I was going to use the Xenagos' ability, which lets you double a creature's power with +X/+X, essentially, and give it haste. And there's a 15/15, so I was going to hit them for 30. So against this matchup, they're playing a lot of black threats. They do have some red cards, but I don't think I really need the Ether Gust. I really want to be able to deal with this Shieldred. The Mystical Disputes, the negates aren't particularly useful. And the Hullbreaker Horrors are just going to get taken by discard effects, it feels like. Obviously, I'm not at the same level of mastery as Reid Duke, but my initial gut feeling is that the Disdainful Stroke comes in for sure, and then the 3 Shark Typhoons are useful for this more mid-rangey matchup. I think I just try to still win with the combo, and then I probably don't need Spell Pierce as much. I'm just thinking about the cards that I'm most worried about, which is generally the Trespasser, not really for any huge reason, but Trespasser seems annoying. They're probably going to be dealing with my graveyard a little bit, so I'll take out those 2 cards for sure. And then I can probably trim on impulses or things like that. I want to keep all my counter magic that can deal with creatures. So I probably can cut 2 impulses or something like that, and then bring in these 4. Maybe I'm supposed to keep more impulses on the draw, but I can always just cycle Shark Typhoon to draw a card. I think I'm going to try it like this, and then we'll see what we learn from playing out the rest of the match. But this is my initial instinct. I don't think Spell Pierce is that good against them. They'll probably be able to pick apart my hand, and so I'd rather just have 2-for-1s and stuff like that. And so we'll try it like this. Narset's Reversal could be an interesting one, but I don't think it's for this matchup. I think it's for Hidden Strings combo and stuff like that. So now my opponent gets to be on the play if they want, which they probably will. And having 1 game 1 is a big edge. I think my deck is probably geared for this matchup. I assume that Reid Duke knew that Black-Red would be a prevalent deck at the Pro Tour, and thus decided to come ready for battle, so to speak. with his deck of choice. That's one of the things in any big event is there's like a meta game that develops, and if there's a deck that's known to be like the best deck in the format or one of the best decks in the format, like Black Red was in this case, then a lot of players come with the best deck and a lot of players come with plans to beat it. And Reid Duke seems to have fallen in that second camp. Here with just one land, I don't think we can keep this even on the draw. We have a lot of mana sources. There's also a lot of removal here, but I just really don't want to get wrecked by my mana. Okay, this is a much better hand. We will keep this. We have the creativity, but we don't have anything to do with it. But I think we still keep it. I think we actually probably get rid of a land here because we have good interaction. And I think we'll get rid of the Shivan Reef. Because remember that this Spikefield Hazard can be played as a land. They're just thought seizing me. This is why you don't really want to mulligan in this sort of matchup. But at the same time, it must be done sometimes. They take the creativity. Sure. We will play our Spikefield Hazard. If we had drawn a land on turn 1, we would have kept the Spikefield Hazard. I don't think they have any huge 1 toughness creatures that we want to deal with. Which means maybe we were supposed to keep Shivan Reef. They thought seize me again. They're probably going to take Shark Typhoon or Make Disappear, I imagine. Make Disappear. Okay. So they're going to let me have my Minor 2 for 1. Yeah, mulliganing is really bad, but you have to mulligan to make sure you hit your lands. There is Xenagos, the worst draw in my deck. But the thing about Xenagos is there are plenty of ways to like discard him or put him on the bottom of your deck or something. Like Fire Prophecies help me do that. So he won't be like stuck here forever. Sure, that's really not ideal, but I will kill the token here. So we're just trading resources back and forth at the moment. I want this to be a 2/2, so I really hope I draw a land here naturally. Oh, that was a great draw. I draw my own copy of Fable. Normally, I would like consider discarding Xenagos and then just trying to win with the 15/15 on its own. With a high enough life total, I think that's definitely possible, and I think I might need to because I think the combo is going to be hard to assemble post-board here. They get rid of 2 lands, so maybe they're a bit flooded. Maybe they're looking for Shieldrids or something. They Fatal Push me, so they definitely don't have Shieldrids. Okay. I'm going to ditch the Xenagos here. So we draw a card. I'm just going to ditch the Xenagos in this land. Perfect. Play Mutavault. I might want to attack with that soon, and then I will pass. So they get their flipped eye. They have a Castle Lochthwain to refuel their hand. And I'm going to actually cycle this now. I'm going to have my flipped one soon. But I'll just make a 2/2 that can pressure their life total a bit. That's a nice draw. It would have been better if I'd kept Xenagos in my hand, but at the time I felt like I needed to just find action. Okay. So I'm going to hit them for 2. I could fire up this Mutavault. I'm going to do that. They want to trade their Reflection for the Mutavault. I'm actually okay with that. I have plenty of lands. Then I'm going to play the Steam Vents tapped. I don't mind ditching this Sokenzan if I find something to kill with it. They're just going to use Castle Lochthwain, sure. I don't really necessarily need to get rid of these tokens. I can use this to copy my Shark. They have Liliana. Okay. Target player sacrifices a creature. Okay. I'm going to ditch the Reflection, I think. And then I'm going to use this Sokenzan. Attack them. And then I'm actually going to send only one at Liliana because the damage to them could matter. And because that puts them on a 4-turn clock from this. I'm in okay shape. They have the Castle Lochthwain, but they can't really use it effectively because their life total is at risk. They have a Fable. Okay, I can Fire Prophecy that away. Hit them for 4. I'm going to put Sokenzan on the bottom because I want to draw like more action, and I'm probably going to discard the card I draw if it's a land. I'm going to discard that to the big score anyway. I could have got rid of the big score and then made 2 more tokens this coming turn. That is something I could have done. Are they choosing to use that? Because the Sokenzan tokens could have been useful. Because then I would have 4 attackers. So maybe I was supposed to get rid of big score. So they got rid of 1 card, it looks like. They stomped that guy. Okay. So the Sokenzan tokens would have been able to really pressure them here. Okay, they're out of juice. Like, putting them to 1 would make their Castle Lochthwain useless. Okay, so we're going to do this. Discarding the Shivan Reef. That's a nice draw. We have Spell Mastery for sure, because you need to have 2 or more instants and sorceries, and we definitely have that. We have Fiery Impulse and Make Disappear, and Indomitable. We have both of these tokens in play. I think we're going to play this as an island, and then we're going to use the Impulse. It will prevent us from using Indomitable if we find it. Maybe we just wait, because if we do find Indomitable, we want to be able to use it. Yeah, we'll wait. Well, that's a good draw. We'll still Impulse first. Take the Fire Prophecy. Any order. And just like that, it does seem like a pretty good matchup for us. No, we're not going to put it on the bottom. And we win the match. So you saw game 1, we won with the combo. Game 2, we won by playing a nice controlling game. Even though we mulliganed, the Thoughtseizes just weren't able to keep up. We had a lot of value. We got the Shark Typhoon as a 2-for-1. We had our own Fable. And we were able to just grind through what our opponent did. They flooded a little bit, and we had tools to get rid of our extra lands. And that ended up being the difference. So I hope you enjoyed the first round, and I'll see you folks next round. Welcome to round 2. We won the die roll. And we would like to go first. And here we have the classic example of why Worldspine Wurm is a great win con in this deck. Because if I discard it to big score to set up my combo, I actually get to shuffle it back in. So that means that it doesn't really matter that's in my opening hand, because I'm going to discard it to my big score, and that'll just set me up. So I'm going to keep this hand. I have early interaction. I've got tools to dig for my combo piece. And overall, I'm in great shape. I'm leading with the Spirebluff Canal in the dark because my opponent might not know what deck I'm on then, which could be useful. Like I could be on like Phoenix or something. Okay, so they are on the Hidden Strings combo, which I have a lot of sideboard slots dedicated for, and I can even sideboard out of my own combo. But Fiery Impulse is not really a great card in the matchup. It's pretty much a race game 1, it feels like. I have some more interaction than they do. But there's my creativity. So I will be able to win on turn 5. I just need to make sure I have a little... Oh, gosh. I botched that. Whoops. Yeah, I forgot how this card worked. My bad. I thought it was a different card. Yeah, I should have played the Sokenzan there 100%. That's going to be bad for me. Yep. They get their Lotus Field. I pretty much, if they combo on turn, like I'm going to lose this game probably because of that. If there was a counterspell in my top 4, I would have been able to potentially do some stuff. Okay. Yeah, they're in good shape here. I messed this up. Despite being on the play, they kind of negated that with the Arboreal Grazer putting the extra land in. And now I'm just like miles behind here. There is a Fable. We will play it. Shields are down. That was actually a pretty good draw. We can ditch some of our useless cards here. They might be able to win this following turn. The Hidden Strings combo is very explosive. Okay, so they're going to probably win next turn because they'll copy the thing with Lotus Field this turn. I'm actually kind of close to having been able to win this. Okay. I can discard up to 2 cards. Yes, I would like to discard 2 cards. Discard Worldspine Wurm and the Fiery Impulse. And then I can play a Shivan Reef. Attack my opponent. They should be able to win here. The thing was, the reason I couldn't win here is because I needed this extra treasure. So I would have been able to go 3, 4. Like I could have gone 3, 4, sacrifice this, but I don't have the extra mana to get what I need. So I win next turn, but I think it's too slow here. Because they now have 6 mana and they have access to untapping effects, presumably. Pour over the page. This seems like my best chance to fight them. So I'm going to Impulse now. We find a Fire Prophecy and another Impulse. I have 1 Spell Pierce in the deck. And so I think my best bet is to get the other Impulse here, and then maybe I can leverage that Spell Pierce to save me. But I'm probably just dead here. Make disappear a little bit late there. And then I just can pass through the turn because I have no reactions. Maybe they'll fizzle. The way this combo works is that they get a bunch of mana and then they cast an Emergent Ultimatum, which essentially wins them the game. But they could still whiff, potentially. But yeah, if I'd had that make disappear, I could have sacrificed this thing to it. And then the next turn, I would have had the mana to play Mutavault, pay 5, sacrifice this thing and the treasure token to win with Indomitable Creativity. I think that the make disappear was far enough down in my deck that it didn't matter. So they have 7 cards in hand. I assume they have the mana to cast an Emergent Ultimatum or an Omniscience or whatever they need. That's how it just goes in this matchup. This was actually the matchup that Reid Duke played in the quarterfinals. He lost both of the pre-board games and won all 3 of the sideboarded games. Okay, so they are going to get their Emergent Ultimatum, I assume. They don't have the right colors for it. Oh, no, they do, I think, because they need 3 green and the 2 blue. So I'm just going to concede to the Emergent Ultimatum. The way the combo works is they're going to go get Omniscience and then a couple of cards that like basically let them stack their hand. And once they do that, I can't win anymore. I'll just show you how it works so that you know for if you're playing this matchup yourself. because it won't take that long for them to get their piles. It's a pretty standard thing. Oh, they got Lier, Pour Over the Pages, and Omniscience. So I'm not going to give them Omniscience. But then you see, but they're going to cast Lier and Pour Over the Pages, and they just cast their entire graveyard again, and they cast Emergent Ultimatum again, and then they eventually just like, yeah, they've got this one. We'll move to sideboarded games. So what Reid Duke did in the sideboarding was super interesting, because in one of the sideboarded games, he kept in his combo, and in the other one, he took it out. Because what you can do in this sort of matchup is you bring in like all of these cards. Where are they? Move them. You bring in like all of these cards, and you just shift to being a control deck that can sometimes use Indomitable Creativity to like put in a Hullbreaker Horror a little bit easier. And he did that for game 3, which he won. Or, you know, he did it for, in game 3, he did that, he turned into control deck. In game 4, he switched back to the combo. So maybe we'll do that, and game 2 we'll switch out of the combo and bring in Hullbreaker Horror as a win condition, more Shark Typhoons, Mystical Disputes, Narcissist Reversals, Negates, Disdainful Stroke, and Ether Gust, and then in game 3 we'll shift back. So our removal is dead here. So we don't want any of it. And then we'll trim in Indomitable Creativity. And we will trim on one big score. We'll run it like that. We would like to play first. And now look at this hand. They are going to have trouble resolving their key spells for their combo. I think this is why Reid won a lot of the post-sideboard games. Turn 1, though, we don't care if we can't stop it on Boreal Grazer, so we'll just avoid taking the 2 damage. Not that it really matters. They don't really win with damage. We can't Ether Gust on turn 1 anyway. They play a Temple of Mystery. They scry. They scried to the bottom. I know it was hidden behind my camera there, but might as well check. Okay, we have all that we need. They have access to a lot of cards after sideboarding that make it so their spells can't be countered. Here we are going to... I like Ether Gust because it can buy us a turn against something that can't be countered, like Dramoka. I do like kind of stalling them here by putting it back on top, though. I like keeping the Spell Pierce as like a cheap way to do stuff. Let's see where they put the Sylvan Scrying. They put it on top of their library. So that means they're going to cast it again next turn. Otawara. Play my land. And I'll be able to use my Secrets of the Key here coming up soon to start drawing some cards, putting tokens into play, etc., etc. Okay, and here I will use my Make Disappear. I'd like to keep my Spell Pierce as a cheaper counter option. And they put that back on top. So if they don't have a land here, that means they've got 6 spells in hand. They were really counting on that Lotus. They don't have a land. We're still hitting our land drops. We found another counter spell. This matchup becomes much different post-board. This is the control version of our deck. Yep, we will still say no to that with our Make Disappear, the less efficient option, and then we'll sacrifice our Clue token. Make sure we keep hitting our mana. There's our spell. And this is why we've saved this Spell Pierce. Because now we get to jam this Fable and still have Spell Pierce backup. So this is why you want to save the Spell Pierce here, because in this matchup, Make Disappear being able to counter creatures doesn't really matter. All that we care about are their non-creatures. We don't care about our Boreal Grazer at all. And they're just going to cast another Sylvan. Okay, no, they're cycling. We can't do anything about that. But they're just trying to dig for a land, I think. And if they don't find it, we're just going to be able to take over this game. Narset's Reversal is really good in this matchup as well. I will use it to get rid of Big Score. I don't want to have to cast that. But I like everything else. Valakut's Awakening gives me a land drop. That's nice. Hitting land drops is important, especially when your opponent's not hitting them, because you just have the ability to pull your spells a lot easier. Play that on its as a land, and then I can make a shark token on end step. They cycle another Vizier. I think we have this game in the bag. I'm finding it hard to imagine how they get out of this. Our clock isn't that fast at the moment, which is our only real weakness. Okay, they found a land. And they don't have any instants that I really care about, so I'm going to cycle this for the max. Even sacrificing this as well, because that puts them on a 4-turn clock. And I don't really feel limited by treasure because this thing's going to keep hitting them. And I do want to finish this game at some point. That's a good draw. Because that thing can start hitting them soon. 6 mana, so I can hit them with it next turn. We make a treasure token, put them to 14. And we might even just kill them next turn. Because they're at 14. Oh, they'd go to 1. 7. So here I can just flashback Secrets of the Key with Spell Pierce backup. Impulse is fine. They don't have the mana to pay for my Spell Pierce anyway on their actual spells they care about, and I have Narset's Reversal as well. Actually, I think this isn't legendary, right? Target spell, so I can boost it up and then copy it with Reflection to win the game. And I have the mana to do that. Okay. We won that game. Our control game plan looked amazing against them. I'm wondering why Reid Duke decided to go back towards the combo in round 3. It feels like they don't have enough sideboard slots to deal with this plan. And we brought in like 1 billion cards. Yeah. I really like the way we sideboarded here. I think we're actually just going to keep it the same. I think Reid Duke brought back in some of the combo elements. Like, maybe he only brought back in the Worldspine Wurm and the Xenagos, and he got rid of the Hullbreaker Horrors. And just like won with the combo that way. Like, he realized that he doesn't need the Hullbreaker Horrors. He can just keep the normal combo and then just win with creativity still in a long drawn out game. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll just mirror what Reid did. I feel like it doesn't really matter how we win, but having an instant speed, like on the draw when we're a little bit less favored. I guess we were on the draw that game too. No, we were on the play that game. I guess it makes sense that we could have like an instant I win button if we do manage to set things up. So yeah, we'll try it this way. It's cool to try both sideboard plans. Okay. This hand is much worse than the last one we had, and it's tempting to mulligan this for me. They kept their full 7, which means they could have an explosive start, and we just have no interaction, so I'm going to mulligan this. And this is a much better hand, even just having the make disappear. We'll keep this, and we will ditch the Valakut Awakening. I wish we had more Spell Pierces. They felt very nice. Okay, so we have our combo all set up. So we just have to survive now. We're in survival mode. And if they have the Sylvan Scrying... Oh, they do not have a second land. That is huge for us. And now we have the Negate and the Impulse. Okay, this is looking good. And I kind of like having the just instant I win button here. I wonder why they kept on the... Oh, no, did they mulligan? Let me check see if they mulliganed. Because it looks like they did mulligan. They did. They mulliganed to 5. Okay, it just looked like they had 7. Okay, that's why their hand was non-functional. And here, they're casting Baral, and I will say no to that. Because that card's going to make their spells cheaper, and it's going to make it a little bit more annoying to deal with them. We get to play our Mutavault here. We will need triple red here, but we should be okay. We can find a land off this impulse, hopefully. Okay, so I guess their deck does mulligan relatively frequently. They're going to counter my impulse, maybe? They impulse in response. Sure. I'm looking for a red land here. Most of my lands produce red mana. I think I have 2 of the only ones that don't actually in play. Okay, we resolve ours. There's another Sokenzan, which is actually unfortunate here. So I guess we take... Secrets of the Key gives us tokens that we can use big score for the right mana. So I guess we do that. Because what our plan is we can use this to make a clue token off of one of the blue sources that we have, and then use a treasure to make mana. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll just do that on their end step with our big score. Discard the Worldspine Wurm. Hope not to draw Xenagos. Because you want to just win instantly. Sure. I think that's non-threatening enough that I can just let that resolve. I don't know if they play Spell Pierce post-board. They do play Spell Pierce. And I should have cast this in response, but that's just not knowing the meta perfectly. Okay, so we found another red source. Perfect. We can wait here, though. Play the Riverglide Pathway. Like, sure, we can go for this into Spell Pierce mana. I feel like they would have Spell Pierced the big score, maybe. I don't think they can win next turn. We have 2 negates. And if we wait a turn, we can do this with negate backup. So we're just going to wait a turn. Just extra safe. I don't want to just lose to Spell Pierce for no reason. I have no idea if they play it in their sideboard, but they could easily play Spell Pierce in their sideboard. Okay. I'm going to negate that. So now if I draw a land, I have Spell Pierce backup. I mean, if negate backup for my combo. Not that land, unfortunately. I am playing very scared here. So if I tap 5 mana and sacrifice these 2, now they could have negate backup. Yeah, I probably should have just gone for it when they only had 1 mana. Going for the combo with negate backup does feel very cozy, though. Okay. Yeah, I botched this. Like, I think I'm still going to win, but I could have won this way easier. I just know that when I watch the pros play, they oftentimes play around the little things. Okay, they haven't become a copy of that. That's okay. I don't really care. Okay. So I can go for the combo with negate backup. They have 5 cards in hand. How many of them are counter spells? No idea. Just gonna go slow and steady still. Look for like a Fable here. Okay, there's a Fable, the Mirror Breaker. That's kind of exactly what I wanted. I need to be careful because I don't want to accidentally draw my combo pieces. Okay, but there's the Xenagos. We can play him with our treasures. We will just hard cast Xenagos. And if this resolves, have a counter war over negates. So it does resolve. They only had 1 counterspell, maybe. Yep. And we win the match. Okay, we could have won that way easier. I don't know their exact list. I probably should have looked at that, but I played too scared around Spell Pierce, and I made the game needlessly difficult on myself. And then when I could go for the combo with negate backup, I shouldn't have assumed they had 2 counter spells. That was just silly. They just don't have room for that kind of stuff. Maybe they do. I don't know, but they definitely sided in negates, so I think I got even impatient at the end there. Maybe I should have been less ambitious. But anyway, we got the win, and I'll see you folks next round. Welcome to round 3. We've won all of the die rolls. That's pretty cool. And we have a good hand here. Early interaction, Fiery Impulse, Fire Prophecy, big score, Shark Typhoon. So we're in good shape. If we're playing against the control deck, or even the mirror, we have Fire Prophecy to get rid of our dead removal. Big score to get rid of dead removal. So we're in pretty good shape, I think. I think we just lead by playing Sokenzan, in case we want to shock something turn 1 if it's a very aggressive matchup. And then we can even play Mutavault second, or we can, because that way we can just decide on whether we need the Steam Vents later. Black man. Okay, so they're going to Thoughtseize me. Okay, they kind of know what I'm on now. They're probably playing Rakdos. That's my best bet. They could also be playing something like Greasefang combo. There's a lot of decks that can play a Thoughtseize. If I was them, I think Shark Typhoon, if they're a control deck, is generally pretty scary. Big score is a big setup piece. Okay, so they don't know we have that. We can take this opportunity to deploy our land tapped, because this could be a matchup where our life total matters. And this gives us the option to Fire Prophecy and Fiery Impulse next turn. Waste Not. Oh, it's a discard deck. That's cool. This card's a non-creature, non-land card. They draw a card. So if I discard my Shark Typhoon, they get to reap the rewards. Wild. I'm going to Impulse. I don't want them to draw a card right now. Big score is tempting because it sets up my combo, but I'm just going to take the Stormcarved Coast. Continue playing this slow. We draw the big score anyway. Perfect. And now we can combo kill them next turn, depending on what they do here. So it's like mono black here. I wonder what they're going to do. Nothing? We're going to let them draw a card because we're going to big score, and we're going to ditch this Fiery Impulse. We want to keep Fire Prophecy in case we draw Xenagos off of this. We don't hit a land yet. Which is okay, because we'll just cast this Fable. But we could have combo killed them there if we had drawn another land. But I don't know if I want to go for the combo in the face of so much mana. Though I think it's pretty immune to disruption. Okay, they kill my guy. That's fine. So they're like a mono black control deck that uses Waste Not. Davriel. Okay. I'll ditch the Impulse. I can kill this Davriel, though, with my Mutavault. That's why we kept the Fire Prophecy. Do we want to discard it? Yes, I think we do. We'll discard Shark Typhoon. They'll draw another card. Fire up the Mutavault. Attack down Davriel. We have our counter spell to protect it if they go for a kill spell on it. This is non-angel, and this is an angel. It's all creature types. Counter that. Make sure we stop this Davriel in its tracks. Got him. The Xenagos being in our hand is a problem. If they don't play a creature, I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. I guess we can just Creativity for 1. 15/15 is probably still pretty dang good. We can also hard cast Xenagos. Their deck is destroying me. I think I messed this game up. I think I'm supposed to just Creativity and get my 15/15 on that one turn. Now if they want to kill my card, they'll have to pry it from me. I think just getting a Worldspine Wurm into play could be good enough, so I'm probably going to... I might just discard the Xenagos. Gonna ditch the Fire Prophecy, actually. They keep drawing cards, which is annoying. Sure. Dang, I think I botched this game. I think I could have won if I just got the Worldspine Wurm that one turn. Okay. I'll take the land, I guess. We're just going to hope this works. And now we have a 15-15. Do your worst, opponent. And if they kill it, I get 3 worms. Sure. So I have 15 worth of power. They're going to Fatal Push a Worm or something. Sure. So they can -2 their Liliana. Dave Real, okay. There goes Xenagos, so they get a 2-2. Oh, I'm in really bad shape here. Attack them. Get my land. I probably should have attacked the Liliana. I'm struggling to see how I win if I don't just attack them a couple turns here. Another waste knot. That doesn't do anything. I have to kill the Liliana this turn. Otherwise she'll make me sack my worm. And if they kill my worm, I'm just going to concede. That's really funny. That was like a really good draw. So they don't have a kill spell. That just bailed me out big time. That's why you never concede. I just get a refresh on my worm. Unless, of course, they were saving a Fatal Push. Which makes no sense. Oh my god. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. They do all this work, they get me empty-handed, and then I just Izzet Creativity and get Worm again. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. They spent so long getting me empty-handed, and then I just top deck it like a beast. Did I have any more copies? They exiled one of them, but I already used 2 of them, so I only had 2. I only had 2 left in the deck. That was like my best draw. Oh my gosh. They're just trying to like find an answer. They need a kill spell. Because they know a 15-15's heading their way. We win the game! Let's go! That is me channeling my inner Reid Duke, because I really wanted to concede there. I have to say it. Okay, negates. I don't think we want the Hullbreaker Horror package, because they're just going to pick apart our hand and make us discard it. The Shark Typhoons are kind of bad, because it makes us discard our own cards. This is not a matchup I think that was expected. I definitely don't want Disdainful Strokes. Negates could be good, though. What's bad? I think we want the combo. I don't think Shark Typhoon's good in the face of Waste Not, because they just draw a card when we use Shark Typhoon. Which definitely felt bad. And then, I mean, my graveyard's going to be full for this card. I like my Fables. And they have no creatures. Let's do Planeswalker. No, only creatures. So I guess I shave all my removal spells. Bring in the negates. Gosh, I don't even have enough cards. That's so brutal. Oh man, I will have the option to discard these. Maybe I can make use of them somehow to put Xenagos back in my deck or something. Maybe they'll have some random creatures. Maybe I can use Narset's Reversal. Maybe I can use Mystical Dispute. Honestly, I should just play the Shark Typhoons. They actually have use cases. The other cards just seem completely useless. I'll keep in 1 Fire Prophecy, but the Typhoons are just like, I can just cycle them. If they play Waste Not, they play Waste Not. That's how it goes sometimes. This is a weird matchup. Oh my god. The opponent, I would be so sad if I was the opponent, because they had the situation. You don't really want to mulligan against discard decks. This hand is bad, though. Really bad. If they play discard effect, they play Waste Not, and then I just don't do anything the entire game. They're going to Thoughtseize me, though. And having lands is good, so I'm going to keep it. It's kind of weird in these matchups, because if they have Thoughtseize, it doesn't matter, because if I mulligan to a better hand, they're just going to Thoughtseize it anyway. And so having consistent land drops to hit will set me up for the top of my deck, which they can't make me discard. It's not Lantern control, after all. And they have a slow hand, so maybe I could have done more setup work. Impulse is a good draw. That gives me a lot of room. I really want to find Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Whoa, they have nothing. They're afraid of counter magic or something. And also your opponent doesn't know that you have nothing. Okay, so there's a Shark Typhoon, which we'll take. There's another Indomitable Creativity, but I think Shark Typhoon's good here. Helps set me up. Set my land. I can make a 1/1. Protect against the Liliana Edicts and stuff like that. Definitely do this in response. I wish I had a counterspell for that, because that thing's annoying as all get out. Waste Not is super frustrating. We have kind of multiples of all of our key combo effects, though. Play that, hit them for 1. First Blood. And then I have the big score for their end step, followed by the creativity on the next turn. Sure. We'll see if they cast any. But I have duplicates of everything, so I doubt they can win with only 3 mana. Sure. The only thing that can stop me is if I draw my Xenagos or my Worldspine Wurm off of one of these big scores here. Or if they have a second discard spell that can immediately take the second creativity. Which I feel like they would have cast if they had the option earlier. Okay. Big score. Discard the Riverglide Pathway. They get their 2 mana if they want it. There we go. Sure, I'll discard a land. This feels like a pretty winnable matchup if I don't completely botch it the way I did game 1. This deck has felt really good so far. Like, this is my first time piloting it after watching Reid play it in the Pro Tour, and it has done so much work. So we're going to play Sokenzan. Actually, we're going to play Mutavault. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black doesn't have artifact removal. It has normal removal. I have now backup creativity for if they do try to kill this worm, and I can get a new worm next turn. Sure. Sure thing, buddy. Still hitting them for 10 each turn with a worm, I assume. I have a new creativity for next turn. They're probably going to try and Thoughtseize it away. Cling to Dust would be good to get rid of the worm permanently, but they didn't have the mana to do that. Liliana? Okay. And now they don't have any mana, so I can creativity again. Sacrifice a worm to creativity and hit them for 30. And I have Spell Pierce backup. I'm going to shock myself. There's no real reason not to. Worldspine Wurm shuffling back in is so good in these sorts of matchups. My goodness. Because I can just combo every time I draw an Indomitable Creativity. My goodness. Got there. I honestly don't think they would have been able to win anyway. I could have just used Xenagos on one of these worms I already had, played Sokenzan to make the tokens. So they were dead no matter if I had Indomitable Creativity or not. But we've got this one locked and loaded. Just depends on if my opponent is raging in the chat or not. No, they are not. They're just like stunned. They're like, oh my gosh, they did it. But we've won this one. We just get our worm, buff it up. They only have colorless mana. And we even have Spell Pierce if they did have something crazy. So we've won this game, and I'll see you folks next round. Welcome to round number 4. We have finally lost a die roll, and we are facing down an interesting hand. We have some early interaction. We've got an Impulse. We do have the Xenagos in our opening hand, and we don't have really the lands that we would like. We don't have any red mana. So to cast this on turn 5, we would need 3 straight red sources. But we do have an early counter spell. A couple of them. I think I'm going to mulligan this, though. The Xenagos is kind of like a mulligan anyway, unless we find a Fire Prophecy. And we just don't have enough lands. This hand is much better. Early Fable the Mirror Breaker. We'll keep this. I think we'll ditch one of the fiery impulses, probably. We can't cast it in the early turns anyway. Maybe we discard the impulse, because we can't actually cast the impulse on the early turns if we want to jam Fable. If it's a Thoughtseize deck, though, I'd rather just have the impulse. So I'm going to hedge my bets, get rid of the fiery impulse, because some matchups it's much worse in. This would have been a great 7, but you can't always keep 7. Okay, so this is a matchup where I wish I did have that extra fire impulse, but that's just the way the meta breaks down. Play the mountain. And we'll pass. We'll see what they're working with here. If there's something we'd rather kill. Like if they play a Luminar Gasprint or something. Thalio's Lieutenant. Human, +1/+1 on each human. I'm just going to stop the 3 damage now, and then this thing will grow slowly over time and give me some time to respond to it. That could be incorrect. If I had that second fiery impulse, oh no. Play the pathway, and we'll impulse here. And then next turn we'll just jam the Fable. Hopefully they don't have Thalia. Thalia would really be bad for me. Adeline's also kind of tough. Yeah, there's Adeline. I wish I had not ditched that. I could have just ditched the land, maybe even. Yeah, that's not good for me. My best bet is to combo as fast as possible. There's a Fiery Impulse, with Spellmaster even. So now I have the choice of Fable, but if I play Fable, then they're just going to hit me for 1 billion. This thing's going to keep growing. I think I have to just keep the... I have to play it, though, so I can try to find my combo. Sure, this thing's going to keep growing. Maybe I was supposed to just leave the recruitment officer. Just lack of familiarity with the matchup a little bit. But the Adeline was a good follow-up to this, because it makes this thing grow super fast. Brutal Cathar. Yep. Good interaction there. And I think I'm just dead here. On the draw, mono white, mulliganing, so I got rid of my Fiery Impulse. If I'd had my second Fiery Impulse in this game, I think I could have stabilized. But we'll take one more draw step in. We're just dead. I don't even know why I'm bothering taking another draw step. This game is clearly over. Okay. So sideboarding, I get to bring in my Rending Volleys. So these deal with white cards and blue cards. So we get to bring in these for sure. And then we can bring in Shark Typhoons if we think those will be useful. There's nothing really I want there. I really don't want Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is pretty useless here. I want all the interactive spells and all the combo pieces. But I have 4 Fire Prophecy, 4 Fiery Impulse, 2 Spikefield Hazards to help with the early game. I just don't need Spell Pierce at all. I kind of like the impulses. I think I'll definitely bring in all 3 of these. Gonna leave in all my creativities. Shark Typhoon's a little bit slow, but it can also be a nice little win con. Could cut Dig Through Time. That card's very slow. More of a grindy card. I'm not going to have the time to get my graveyard full. On the play, Make Disappear is probably pretty good. I think generally countering their spells before they can hit play is a fine strategy. The Rending Volleys are looking good here. I could cut the Shark Typhoon. Because Shark Typhoon gets answered by Brutal Cathar really easily. They could have the Wanderer or something like that to deal with my Worldspine Wurm. I think I just have to go with the flow here, though. I think I just have to be fast. Take out some of my clunkier cards. Okay, this is a keepable hand. The Fire Prophecy being able to put back a dead draw is really helpful here. 2 pieces of interaction, plenty of lands. Fire Prophecy's a redraw as well. I think in a bad matchup, you do what you can. Maybe it's not even a bad matchup. I would have to talk to Reid about that. But being a game down, so I know that even if I win this one, I'll have to win a game on the draw. But it's definitely doable. Brutal Cathar is definitely something I'm scared about. Maybe they'll have to mulligan. Let's check the game log. They begin the game with 7 cards in their hand. Definitely going to start by playing this Steam Vents tapped. It'll give me options on turn 2. I don't want to take unnecessary damage. I do have 2 Sokenzans here. One of them could easily be used to make some jump blockers. Recruitment officer, yep. I might ditch a Sokenzan to the Fire Prophecy. Because maybe they play the card that makes Okay, so now there's a Thalia, which I will counter. It makes all my other cards cost more. Ideally, I would have the counterspell for Adeline. Adeline's the really scary one. There's a Creativity, though. So I can actually combo on turn 5. Use Sokenzan to make 2 tokens. Turn 5. Use Creativity to win. There's Adeline. So we'll kill the recruitment officer. And I think I want to just keep all my cards. Because I can turn 4 use this. Turn 5 I'll have all the lands I need. And I'm still at a pretty healthy life total. Play the Sokenzan. I'm hoping they tap out here. Dauntless Bodyguard, sure. They do put on a fast clock. Maybe they have a Thalia's Lieutenant or something. They do not. What could they have for 3 mana? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to go for the combo, though. Because I'm not familiar enough with the matchup, and playing scared of cards that you don't even know exist seems a little bit dicey to me. Who knows? Maybe they have something. They can actually put a decent amount of power in front of this guy. Sometimes you just have to go for the combo. My hand doesn't do anything else. Excellent. You just have to not play scared, I think, sometimes. Okay, so we're on the draw again. Definitely still don't want any of these useless counter spells. Shark Typhoons are still a no. Still a no on that. Shark Typhoon is just very slow. It's like a value card for when you're playing control matchups. And this is not that. So we're just going to hope for the best. We have 11 removal spells. So if our hand doesn't contain a couple of them, I think it's a mulligan. Okay, this is a good hand. Because we have a turn 1 Fiery Impulse, turn 2 Make Disappear, turn 3 Fable. Hopeful Initiate, definitely kind of an annoying card to see. We can't Spikefield Hazard it. But we can Fiery Impulse it. They're going to target that. So we're going to Fiery Impulse it. And then we can Spikefield Hazard this one. That's a great draw. We can just see what they do. They cast a lot of spells pre-combat. They have something on their upkeep? Okay. Castle Ardenvale, sure. Dauntless Bodyguard. So we'll Spikefield Hazard now, so they can't use that Dauntless Bodyguard to protect it. It's not like they can name something else in response. Spikefield Hazard coming in really clutch in this matchup. We have pretty good sideboard. I think Rending Volley plays a very useful role in this deck, in the sideboard. It's good against spirits, good against blue, good against white. Just super helpful. Okay. So, here comes a crucial decision point. They only have 2 cards in their hand. I'm kind of worried about this card gaining training, so they can destroy my Fable. At the same time, Fable might not be that useful. So I'm going to kill the Dauntless Bodyguard here, using a premium removal spell on it, so that I can jam Fable here and hope they don't have the Brutal Cathar to deal with the token. If I draw a land here, though, it becomes interesting. Because then I can like potentially hold a big score and discard the Fable. But Fable just does so much work that I think it's worth keeping around. Valakut Awakening. Okay, we'll play this on the red side. I am walking right into their potential Brutal Cathar. But if they play Brutal Cathar this turn, I'll be able to bounce back. I can make Disappear in the future. And they only have 2 cards in hand right now. One of them could easily be Brutal Cathar because they didn't have a good chance to play it. But they also might have taken it out because they don't have that many good targets, I feel like. So, because this isn't really exactly a creature matchup. If my only creature is Fable, do you really want Brutal Cathar, I guess, is the question. Maybe they do. Make Disappear. Using my Rending Volley on the Dauntless Bodyguard was definitely a big decision point there. Because this card can kill anything. You can kill Adeline. But I think it was correct because it means that they can't attack me and buff up their Hopeful Initiate. And this card destroying my Fable is something I'm slightly worried about. As well as just being a card that can threaten to destroy one of my treasures in response to me using my Indomitable Creativity. Because they can kill the treasure and then I only get one of the creatures, and I don't really win if I do that. This is Adeline, okay. Perfect. Okay. There's Xenagos. So now I need to keep the Valakut Awakening so that I can put that onto the bottom. So I think I get rid of Big Score. Whoops. I do want to do this. I'm going to get rid of Big Score and make Disappear. Nice. And then I'm going to cast the Valakut Awakening. I know, definitely put Xenagos back. Probably put Fable back, and probably put Make Disappear back. Just looking for actual removal spells. This, and then Xenagos last. Perfect. We found some lands. And we're not going to attack, because if we attack, then we can no longer sacrifice this goblin. I can only activate that as a sorcery. I think this is a free block on the 1/1. Keep their stuff from getting out of control. I think this is a case where I can afford to play it slightly slow, actually. I can kill the Adeline here, attack with this guy. And this way, if they did have, like, something crazy, I would be still able to win through the Wanderer, I think, because I could, like, have a chance to have them tap out or something. And then I think I big score, discard the Riverglide Pathway, and then I just have extra treasures. Because the thing is if they have a removal spell for this thing at instant speed, which I don't think they can have, but I was thinking they could have like Kabira Outpost, like the land spell that can kill things. Okay, they're just playing another Adeline. Perfect. So we win. We've already guaranteed the win here, so no need to panic at all. Block there. But you'll notice I do take conservative lines sometimes due to a lack of knowledge. If I played this format a little bit more, I would have a more intimate understanding of what exactly their deck is running at all times. And I could definitely use that to my advantage. Play this. Destroy this. Destroy this. Get the combo. And get the win. 4-0. Playing a variety of matchups. Very cool. And we'll play one last one to see if we can go 5-0 on my first outing with this deck, based purely on watching Reid Duke's mastery of it in the top 8. So hopefully you've been enjoying the video so far, and I'll see you folks in the finals. Welcome to the final round. We have won the die roll again, so that's clutch. And we have a bad hand. No blue mana. Xenagos. Pretty easy mulligan. This time we have Xenagos again, but we can put him on the bottom. We have a little bit of interaction with the Spell Pierce. And we already have the creativity. This is much better. And the fact that we get to put Xenagos on the bottom is great, because then we never have to worry about drawing it. Drawing Worldspine Wurm is not really a big deal, because you can just get rid of it. But getting to ditch Xenagos, it's basically like an upside of the hand. I don't have anything to do on turn 2 anyway. So I'm going to lead with Otawara, in case I do want to Spell Pierce something on turn 1. I think I would probably Spell Pierce a Thoughtseize, is why I say that. And there are Thoughtseize decks. Because I kind of have everything I need. Well, Darren Epicure. So we're against mono red. So let's see how fast we can combo them. We don't have any of our answers to aggro. Play this tapped. And we're kind of in bad shape here. The Fable of the Mirror Breaker might be able to give us a little bit of time. Oh, it's red-black. Perfect. Whew. That's important. That's clutch. Red-black blood, maybe. Play the Fable. It'll allow us to ditch this Spell Pierce at some point, I think. Being on the play was really huge for this one, because Spell Pierce is kind of useless. I do need to hit lands. They're going to kill the Goblin Shaman, I assume. Voltage Surge, yep. And the Mycosynth Garden. Oh, they're playing like some artifacts deck. Interesting. Maybe they're playing Reanimator? I'm definitely ditching the Spell Pierce, because it's kind of useless at this point. Yes, I will ditch the Spell Pierce. And just the Spell Pierce. And we hit the land, which is perfect. So now I can shock it in. Play another Fable. I could go for big score and like try to hit a land. I'm still worried about them having a Thoughtseize coming up. And I think this is going to be a more reliable line. They could have a Reanimator strategy. But yeah, I could have also gone for the big score line. That definitely had some merit. Okay. They just kill my guy, sure. Sure thing. That's very interesting to me. Synthesizer, okay. They're just playing like a dinky little artifacts deck, it looks like. Should be a pretty easy win as long as I can set up this creativity. Which maybe I was supposed to try and do last turn. I wonder what they're reanimating. Okay, Urborg. There's another one of those. Okay. I think I will Fiery Impulse it. No, I'll keep the counterspell up. And then I'll big score and go for the combo. I could have done this a lot faster. Sometimes it's not all about speed, though. As you've seen, I've been taking it kind of slow sometimes on the combos. Sometimes I just go for it. But other times I'm a little bit more cautious. Especially when I'm against an unfamiliar matchup, which is a lot of these matchups. And I think it's a testament to the deck's power that you can kind of go for either option in a lot of these situations. This can get back any creature from their graveyard. So they probably have some big ones to get back. Like they discard it with a blood token, get it back. Let's hope that I can still win with my big score into Indomitable Creativity. And because I have these reflections of Kiki Jiki, I can potentially sacrifice those if they're tapped out. But I would like to find a land still. I've been a little bit worried about discard effects, but I guess they're not really playing those. Okay, what are they discarding? Okay, getting rid of Shieldred. They have to do this at sorcery speed. Sure. Big score, discard, make disappear. We found the land. Perfect. The combo, and they don't have any mana. The dream. I lose 2 life. Good job. Play this. So there's no way they have 5, 6, 7 toughness, so I don't have to even go for the fancy combo. Because the fancy combo is I use this to make a hasty version of the Worldspine Wurm. Like I would sacrifice this Kiki Jiki or something. I guess I'll just show you how it works. Red, red. And then I sacrifice this one and this one. I want you to see how this works. So then my opponent didn't get to see, but it's on the board. So I have this thing. If this isn't a legendary creature, so I can use the treasure to copy this guy, and it'll have haste. And so that means that instead of hitting them for 30 damage, because this thing will double this one, I can hit them for 45. And when the thing dies, sacrifice at the beginning of end step. So I was just double checking that it wasn't exiled, but yeah, I sacrifice it, which means I'll get 3 5/5s as well. Okay, so against their deck, they have a lot of finicky little stuff. I remember last time I played against this in like the early round, I did not sideboard a lot. I think I only brought in like the Disdainful Strokes and the Shark Typhoons. But they look like they don't have as much discard effects. They just have a bunch of like janky little things. So maybe I don't even need the Shark Typhoons. Spell Pierce seemed actually okay against them because they do have a bunch of little artifacts. What do I not want here? I definitely want my removal spells, I think, to some degree. But they don't seem that effective. They have a bunch of little guys that kind of come with stuff. Maybe I don't want the Fiery Impulses, or I don't need as many Fiery Impulses. And I bring in that guy, and I bring in this guy. I don't think I need to make that any major tweaks. I feel like they should have Thought Seizes, though. I think I'm going to try it like this. Normally, I would cut the Spell Pierce, I think. But their deck seems to have like a lot of like random cheap artifacts running around that I can like use to disrupt them. This is definitely a mulligan. As I said, I don't like to mulligan in this matchup, but you have to have lands. As I said, you have to have lands. Deck, you have to have lands, but we're going to keep this anyway. We're going to ditch the Disdainful Stroke and an Impulse. And then just have to hope to draw lands, I guess. Like, they'll Thoughtseize me, and they'll take my Impulse or something. Yeah. My hands have been really bad down the stretch here. Those 3 hands were absolutely unplayable. They also... No, they didn't mulligan. They were on the play, and they played a card thing, yeah. Okay. That's a good draw. So at least we'll be able to do some stuff. What we're really looking for is some sort of... Yeah, so they just have a bunch of dinky little artifacts for value. So, I mean, I probably do still... But them having Thoughtseize, I still probably do want all the Shark Typhoons. That's a good draw. Play this on the red side, because you need to have triple red to do your Indomitable Creativity combo still. And now I'll try to enable my Fable on turn 3, because that card can really just be a 2-for-1 on its own. Okay, their Research Desk finds a Research Desk and a Lattice. So they Research Desk into Research Desk. That's a sort of finicky value I can get behind. I don't really care about countering it. I just have to hope to rip another land off the top. Nope. Okay. So they're kind of spinning their wheels a bit. But Fable into Fable, that can get you out of a jam real quick. They're Thoughtseizing again. Luckily, my hand has a lot of redundancy. They'll probably take Make Disappear or one of the Fables, I'm betting. Yep. And they find another Research Desk. Yep. Okay, so we have the Creativity now. Oh my gosh. No land. Sad day. Maybe that's a mistake for them to cast. I'm not 100% sure, but giving me a target for my Fire Prophecy seems like a mistake. And I'm definitely going to put away this Make Disappear. They know I have it, and I'm planning on tapping out for my Fable. And I can just discard this extra lands and stuff, and this Fiery Impulse. Hoping they don't have Shieldred, but I wouldn't be able to counter it anyway. Oh, whoa, they're improvising something. Okay. Yikes. That's threatening. No, I'm not going to use it. Beginning of your end step. So my new plan is to cold rip a Indomitable Creativity off the top after discarding this one to my big score. I think that's my best bet. It's definitely a possible avenue to victory in what is otherwise a very difficult game. Having to discard a card every turn is not going to help me in my quest for victory. That's fairly obvious. They have a weird deck. I don't think it's very good, though. I'm on a mold of 5, and I still have very real chances of winning. So this trigger is going to go on the stack. They're just like spinning their wheels. But if I can big score into another creativity, perfect, and then I discard this Shark Typhoon, I just win now. Unless this treasure token is something. Wow, I found the line. Oh my gosh. Holy heck, we did it. $30. Oh my gosh. We actually did it. We found the line. We had to big score away our Indomitable Creativity and draw a second one, and that was what we did. And we won. Oh my gosh. I've never trophied a Pioneer League in my entire life. And we just did it on my first try with that deck. I was like, oh, Reid played this deck. He won the Pro Tour. I guess it's good. Oh my gosh. That was absolutely fantastic. Oh my goodness. Let's just look at the deck list again and talk about the cards a little bit as a bit of a post-op. But if you made it all the way till the end of this video and you want to let me know that you enjoyed it, in the comment section down below, leave hashtag first50 to let me know you made it all the way till the end, or hashtag first trophy, or hashtag trophies all over the place. Whatever you'll want to leave in the comments to let me know you made it to the end, because I thought I knew the deck was good because Reid Duke won the Pro Tour with it. But then for me to also win a Pioneer trophy on MTGO, trophies are just raining from the skies when this deck is involved. Hit the like button, subscribe for more. Let me know if you want to see more Pioneer action. But this was sweet. I mean, the Xenagos plus Worldspine Wurm combo was great. The Indomitable Creativity really felt smooth. It's a very small package of 6 cards to fit into a control deck. Big score, really essential. I would count this as part of the combo. We never really needed the dig through time, but Shark Typhoon was really important in that one black-red matchup at the very beginning of the video, if you'll recall. Fable the Mirror Breaker always felt good to cast. Impulse, Make Disappear. All these cards had their moment in the sun. Fire Prophecy and Fire Impulse were great in the mono-white matchup. Spell Pierce, great in the Hidden Strings combo matchup. I feel like we played against the full spectrum of decks. We didn't play the mirror match, but we played against a couple of black-red decks, one funky one, one normal one. We played against mono-white, we played against Hidden Strings, and we even played against a weird rogue mono-black discard deck. The lands were good, and then the sideboard felt really well tuned. We had great counter magic. We had some good stuff as like value cards. The Rending Volley were really huge in the matchup that we wanted them, the mono-white matchup. And then we actually felt really good in the Hidden Strings matchup because of those cards. So honestly, super fun time. I really enjoyed playing this deck. And if you are interested in more Pioneer action, let me know. Huge shout out to Reid Duke because I just copied the list from him. And also to Reid Duke's teammates who helped him brew the deck, like Gabriel Nassif. And he was also on a team with like Luis Scott Vargas and a bunch of other big name pros. So I just copied the deck list that Reid Duke used to win the Pro Tour. I'll have a link to it in the description below if you would like to copy it and try it out yourself. And yeah, really awesome stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you next time.